Welcome to another edition of Hey Bobby with Senior VP of the Cleveland Guardians, Bob DiBiasio, with us here on WAKR. And Bobby, it's going to be fun. We've got playoff baseball on the horizon, but I thought we could talk a little bit. You've watched the team February, March through this whole baseball season. You saw Stephen Vogt come in and kind of get his feet wet back in February and March into where they are now. But talk about how this young baseball team has captivated not only baseball fans but the entire city of Cleveland. You can tell. I remember going to 1 o'clock games, and you'd see what 8, 10,000, and now they're packing them every 1 o'clock. The city, the fans just have fallen in love with this baseball team.
Yeah, attendance has been absolutely wonderful. We're going to get to the 2 million mark, which we haven't done very often of late, and real testament to the fans and their love affair of this baseball team. What an incredible story. This team is a first-year manager, a whole new coaching staff with two stalwarts remaining in Sandy Alomar Jr. and also Carl Willis assisting a first-year manager. It it's really a testament to not only Stephen Vogt's leadership abilities, but you have to truly embrace the concept of teamwork. And once you deal with understanding that you're part of a group and you need to pull your weight, and the game of baseball is so unique in the sense that it's an individual sport when the ball's hit to you, and it's an individual sport when you're standing in the batter's box or standing on the mound. But it's a team sport, most of all. And when you have a team sport, you need everybody to respect the game and respect each other. But you also need a team leader. And we're so very blessed. Jose Ramirez is wearing a Cleveland uniform.
Yeah, I agree. And Bobby, you're right about the team aspect, because different nights, and it's an old cliche, everybody has to do their job and you never give up or never out. Those cliches are used a lot, but they really do fit this baseball team. I mean, we've been down 3, 4, 5 runs, and they nibble, they get back in it, and then they get the walk-off hit or the walk-off catch or the big close by Clase. They've had different guys step up, internally. This starts at the top with Stephen Vogt.
Yes, it does. A remarkable job. So consistent, so positive in his approach. Um, I guarantee you, if you did have a chance to sit down with him and have a long chat, he would tell you that from February 1st to today, how much he's learned about leading a group of men. He came in with an understanding of what it took because as a big league catcher for 10 years, you're making about 150 decisions every game. And you had to, when the manager walked out to the pitcher's mound and looked at you as the catcher and said, "Is he done?" And that pitcher could be your best friend, you'd have to be honest and say, "Yeah, he doesn't have it today." And that's not easy. And so as you sit and learn the game from that position, and he always had in the back of his mind that when his playing days were over, he wanted to be a big league manager. So everything he did, the injury riddled season that he had, I think it was with Milwaukee, that he asked the front office if he could sit in during the draft just to see how the machinations worked of a baseball draft, and sat next to the manager and the bench coach during his injury period, so he could just see the game from that perspective as well. So he always had in mind that he would be a manager in the big league someday. It came a lot quicker than he had anticipated, and we're very fortunate that it did.
Obviously, we've got good statistics and terrific seasons from Jose Ramirez, and and Josh Naylor. Without those two, we wouldn't be here. But to me, the gaudy stat that sticks out to the on this team is our bullpen. You've got right now, I think, 5 rookies in our bullpen, anchored by the best closer in baseball and maybe the best closer in baseball the last 3 to 5 years. That bullpen has just been outstanding. It's shortened the game, right, Bobby? It's made it a 5-6 inning baseball game.
It sure has. These guys, as you said, the youngsters, the Hunter Gattises and the Cade Smiths and the Timmy Herons and the group just have been absolutely wonderful. That's what gets me so excited about this postseason, that bullpens are so vitally important when it's close games. You cannot allow teams to score on you late. You don't have a lot of time to catch up, obviously. So having a shutdown bullpen when you go into 5-game series and then, 7-game series, it's so vitally important. And what, Chris and Cherney and Matt Foreman and all of the baseball operations group and our pitching people, Carl Willis and all of his assistants up and down the organization to put together that kind of incredible bullpen. Got off to a great start. Emmanuel worked his tail off in the off season while he led the major leagues in saves a year ago. He also led the league in blown saves. So he was not happy with his season, and he got to work this off season. And you obviously can see what transpired from that work of controlling a couple different pitches in the strike zone. That got a little bit away from him in 2023. We started the season, Ray, winning 19 games in both April and May. And so we're 38-20. And from that period of time, it made the city stand up and take notice. It made the ball players feel comfortable and confident every time they went out on that baseball season and the next 4 months of baseball. They played their brand, aggressive base running, do what's necessary to get runs home, play good, solid defense, and then turn the game over to the bullpen.
Senior VP with the Guardians, Bob DiBiasio, and we were talking about pitching and bullpen and Cleveland baseball. And, it was this date back in the late 70s, a gentleman by the name of Gaylord Perry called it a career after many great seasons. People don't understand that when they associate with Gaylord, they think about some of the things of rubbing the baseball and that type of thing. The guy won 314 baseball games, lifetime ERA of 3.14. He was really, really good. And Bobby, there are some that say when he was with us in Cleveland, he may have saved baseball in Cleveland. And I thought maybe you could reflect a little bit on Gaylord Perry as a Cleveland baseball player and what he really kind of means to our history when we needed him most.
Yeah, I think our friend Jim Clark, who wrote the book on the 74 Indians, would say that in 72 when he won the Cy Young Award, winning 24 games, leading the league. He unbelievable that he had 29 complete games in 41 starts that year to win the Cy Young, pitched like almost 350 innings or something of that nature. So pretty remarkable. Played for 8 different teams in his 22-year career. He started in the early 60s and ended in the, I think it was 62 to 83 in there. Whenever we'd have Gaylord in town as an alumni ambassador, he's part of the Guardians Hall of Fame, our top 100 roster. Of course, he's in Cooperstown at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. I just got giddy being able to sit in a room and just talk baseball with him, just talk pitching. How did you face Willie McCovey? How did you go after certain guys? What was your, who, when you got matched up with people who was the guy on the mound that really made you say, okay, I got to get my stuff in order here today, because my team's going to have trouble scoring runs because that guy on the mound, and how did that affect his preparation and things of that nature. One of the stories, Ray, that he told me that I just think is one of the funnest aspects of baseball. When a team would come to Cleveland or some other ball club that he was on, and it was his turn to pitch, he would put Vaseline on his hand, his right hand. And while the other team's taking batting practice, he would go up and shake hands with them and say hello. And they'd look at their hand and it's covered in Vaseline, and he'd just get in their heads. I mean, that's just when he told me that story for the first time, I rolled. I fell off the chair thinking this is one of the greatest things in baseball history, that he would do that just to get in teams' heads.
A fabulous pitcher for sure. I remember years later, I saw him at Sky Harbor Airport on the way home from one of our trips out there during spring training. He was sitting over on the side. I walked over and I said, Mr. Perry, can I have a couple of comments with you? And he said, thank you very much, because I complimented him on his career. And he said, I just kind of travel around in my RV right now. I don't like to talk too much baseball, but thanks for the kind words. He was very polite, and
yeah,
always remember that about Gaylord Perry, and fantastic pitcher. So there you have it. Another edition of Hey Bobby with Senior VP of the Cleveland Guardians, Bob DiBiase, who joins us each week. And Bobby, we're getting ready for playoff baseball. We'll start talking about that more coming up next week. But my friend, thanks for the time and the visit.
Can't wait to talk postseason baseball, Ray. Go Guardians.